Yo, people, what is good? Welcome back to my channel. Another live stream. Off the back of a win this time, our first win of the season. I'm going to spare you with all the details up front because we're going to get into that as we progress through the stream. Sorry for my lateness. I literally just finished a work meeting, so I hopped straight onto my laptop, fired up the camera, and bish bash bosh, here I am. So yeah, post-match reaction. Obviously, Spurs beat 2-0. We're going to talk about the Butcher. We're going to talk about all sorts of things. We're going to talk about Sarr. We're going to talk about all sorts of things. And then after that, I'm going straight to the gym. Yeah, cool. Listen, I know some people said, oh, you don't need to do the, you don't need to talk about your ordering of the topics you want to speak about, but I'm going to do it anyway because I just like a more organized look on my streams nowadays. So without spending too much time on this, we're going to talk about the lineups similar to last week. Then we're going to talk about the game review similar to last week. Then we're going to talk about the positives. Then we're going to talk about the negatives. And then after that, if there's any other business, I'll bring it up. Simple as, right? That's the format that is going to be continued from now up until I somehow stop these streams. I don't know. Anyway, that's just how it's going to go. That is just how it's going to go. Usual housekeeping duties as well. Please, people, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Please turn your post notifications on as well so you know when I'm going live, so you don't miss out on all these great or bad opinions. Yeah, it's up to you what you want to do, but just support the thing if you like what you listen to anyway. But let's start. So obviously Tottenham beat Man United 2-0. First home game of the season. That was a really good victory, and it was nice for us to actually keep a clean sheet whilst doing it as well. And finally get one over at Man United in our new stadium. That's been a long time coming. Anyone who would have watched my pre-match preview would have seen how desperate I was for us to actually win this game and how confident I was that we were going to win this game as well. Apologies if you can hear that in the background. It's my washing machine doing a madness. It's on a spin cycle, the same way we put Lisandro on a spin cycle in the second half and Casemiro. But anyway, yeah, man, we needed to get this result. We needed to get 3 points. First home game of the season. Start as you mean to go on as well. But I'm not going to sit here and say like it was a complete blamming the whole game, right? It was very much, for me, a game of two halves for Spurs. It definitely was, and we'll get into that when we get into the game review, right? So yeah, let's actually start with the lineups. Let's start with the lineup. So for me, I'll start with Man United first, actually, instead of Spurs. I'll start with United first, right? With Man United, yeah, I was actually quite shocked that he kept the same team. I'm so shocked that he kept the same team. Obviously, he wants to try and show his players like he's got confidence in their abilities, even though we all know and watch the Wolves game, we all know that fundamentally there were flaws in Man United's performances and there were tweaks that needed to be made to their team, right? But he kept the same lineup. So fair play to him for sticking to his guns. And to be honest, as we talk on the first half, it didn't look like he was wrong to do that when you saw how Man United played in the first half, right? But I was shocked, nevertheless. I was not expecting Anthony to start. I was expecting Mason Mount to be moved out wide. I certainly wasn't expecting Marcus Rashford to be played up top. That one was actually quite surprising to me, especially when you consider the amount of space that we normally leave on the flanks as well. So yeah, that one surprised me. But anyway, he didn't change anything. And that's his business, not ours. On Spurs, for me, that is on paper the best lineup that we can put out right now in absence of Bentancur, right? I think if you included Bentancur, let's say he was fit and able, right? For Sarr, that would be right now Tottenham's best starting XI, right? In possession anyway. I know obviously we'll talk about Pedro Porro later on, but I mean, when you look at the team and the way the manager wants to play and the caliber of players across that 11 in terms of what they can do in possession, that is the best team that Spurs could play. So I wasn't really too mad with the lineup. That was my ideal lineup, with exception of one position, which was Pedro Porro's. Right, I felt Pedro Porro. I was shocked that he started this game. I really was shocked. I didn't feel like he would start, because I felt like Man United just having Rashford and potentially Garnacho on that left-hand side. I felt like that was a game that probably would have suited someone like Emerson, who's obviously much more risk averse to Pedro Porro in possession, but is a much more competent defender. Right, I really thought Emerson was going to start, but fair play to Ange Postecoglou. He put Pedro Porro in. It's a home game. He wants to go for the game, so fair enough, man. I respect it. I respect it completely. On the attack as well, I felt like he would have played that same attack, and again, similar to Ten Hag. I have to sort of at least give the manager some props for sticking to his guns and giving these guys the best opportunity possible to prove their worth. I feel like with the Richie, Kulusevski, Son combination now, like, we all have our issues with it, and I will talk about it later on during the stream, but it's clear to see for me that even irrespective of whatever Spurs do in the transfer window, Ange Postecoglou wants to give this attack, this front three, the best chance possible to click, right? I feel like players like Richarlison, you're going to get your opportunity, so it's up to you to seize your opportunity. Same for Kulusevski as well, right? For me, it's quite clear the likes of Solomon and Perisic, they're going to be players that will come into the team as and when required, rotate, etc., but they won't command the same starting berth as someone like a Son, Kulu, or Richie. So I feel like he was always going to go with that attacking formation, right? He was always going to go with that. So fair play to him for sticking to that, man. I think the rest of the team picked itself. Oh God, why does this always happen? Whenever I'm on a stream, someone is buzzing this door. I don't get it. Anyway, yeah. So sorry, I got sidetracked there. The rest of the team picked itself big time, because I felt like the midfield, Basuma and Maddison, no-brainers. They had to start. Pape Matar Sarr, I was so happy he came into the team, because let's be real, I spoke on it last week. Oliver Skip, his performance against Brentford, he was a passenger. Right? So there was no chance in a game like this, where we need to take it to the opposition and we need players who have a bit more technical quality on the ball. Sorry, there was no justification to start Skip over Sarr, and the manager was vindicated in his decision, right? And then the defense picked itself again outside of Pedro Porro. The two centre backs, of course, they were going to start, and then Destiny Udogie, of course, he was going to play as well. So the rest of the team, it picked itself. So I guess those are just my opinions on the starting 11. Let me just go through some comments just to see what is what so far. Okay, so here's one from Freddie. He says, we were told that it's the players and Conte can't work with them, and here we are with a lot of the same players, and the performances has been far better. I can't put into words how much I hate Conte. That's fair enough, bro. That's fair enough. I can't begrudge people for hating Conte. I loved Conte, but honestly, I started to hate what he was doing to Spurs last season, and he absolutely had to go. But this point on, it's the same players. I mean, is it really the same players though? When you look at our team, right? The players who are still in the team are the players who everyone knew universally were good, right? Everyone knew Kulusevski was good. Everyone knew Basuma was good and just wasn't given the opportunity, right? But then when you look at the defense, everyone knew Romero was good. He just had a poor season last year. But Pedro Porro was signed in January. Mickey van der Ven signed in the summer. Destiny signed last season and was loaned out last season. So this is the first season where he's playing. Maddison signed this summer, right? Pape Matar Sarr wasn't given the opportunity again by Conte, right? So I feel like that point, there's validity in it, but at the same time, Spurs are not exactly playing the exact same team we played last year, which is the problem. Antonio Conte was not picking the right players or setting up Spurs for success last season. Anyway, let's go through some more comments on the starting lineup as well. Big up Adrian Parker. He says Rashford should have played on the wing, definitely. But Ange says we have only just begun the process. Emerson for Porro works for me, but Ange maybe thought Rashford on the left. Okay. Let's see what else. What else? 30 Sanchez. Madison was 20 million cheaper than Mount. Boy, I'm going to speak on that at the end of the stream. I'm going to speak on that at the end of the stream. I'm going to call out a certain man, right? Big up Rob as well. He says there was a lot of pressure on Ange to get a result ASAP, and he's delivered. It doesn't mean we are out of the woods yet, but his ideology is shown in this team. We just need a few more signings. Another CB is essential. Fully agree. Fully agree. Fully agree, bro. Claude Murphy says Ange only had 3 weeks. Give him 3 months. He would do wonders with Spurs. It was the same thing with our Australian team. We all doubted him, and he proved us wrong. Listen, I'm hearing good things about Ange Postecoglou, and I'm all in, man. I'm all in. Big up Dami as well. He says it's nice to see Ange give younger players like Sarr, Skip, and Udogie chances over easy options like Davies and Højbjerg. It's facts. It's facts. And these are some of the mistakes that likes of Conte was doing last season. Obviously, we didn't have Udogie in the team, but we had Sarr in the team. He didn't play him. But this ain't going to be a Conte bashing session, man. Conte is not our manager anymore. We're here to talk about a good performance against Spurs. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, there's a couple of super chats as well. Big up Ash as well for the super chat. He says Saab and Basuma are quality for the whole 90. Matters in and out. Defensively shaky first half. Your front line isn't helping you out at all. Poor and top. Yeah, I feel like I fairly agree with that, to be fair. Apart from Son, I felt Son was actually pretty decent on Saturday. Caleb says, fair play to you lot, but the ref denied us 2 penalties. Nah, man, sorry. That Romero one, where do people want him to put his hands when he's sliding for the ball? Like, if that was a penalty, then the challenge from Lisandro on Romero was a penalty as well. He didn't get any of the ball. He just kicked Romero's leg. But anyway, I don't want to digress. Let's actually talk about the game. Let's talk about the game itself, right? Because a lot of people in the comments have put in some fair shouts, right? And I'll be real. As I said, it was a game of 2 halves for me. It really was. I felt in the first half, Man United were definitely the better team. In my opinion, it showed from a statistical perspective and from the eye test. They had double R attempts. They had more big chances created. They stopped us from playing the way we wanted to play. So as far as first halves are considered, as a Man United fan, the only grievance you'd have with that performance is that they didn't stick the ball in the back of the net. I felt in the first half, tactically as well, we were stifled. We really were. Everyone knows now that Ange Postecoglou wants to build up through the central areas of our team, right? We have our fullbacks tucking in. We have Basuma central. We have Madison and the right-sided number 8s in central positions as well, right? So everyone knows that the central part of the pitch is where we want to create our superiority over the opposition. And Man United negated that perfectly, man. I felt it was like we were trying to play through 2 defensive lines of 3 in the first half, right? I felt like the Anthony and Garnacho were tucking inwards when Man United were out of possession, and it made it very difficult for us to actually build out. Right, the ball would be played by Vicario to Romero or Mickey van der Ven, but there was literally no angle for them to pass into, and you had the likes of Son and Kulusevski sometimes having to drop deep. Right, Son sometimes having to come towards the halfway line and stuff, where these times, Ange Postecoglou wants the wide players high and wide, high and wide, ready to receive the ball to take on their man one-on-one. So I felt Man United did pretty well with that, right? The wingers followed the fullbacks into the central areas. Mason Mount, Bruno, Casemiro, very compact in the central areas. Rashford even dropping deep as well. And it was like they had around 5 or 6 bodies in the center of the park, and they just made it impossible for us to try and find the likes of Basuma with enough regularity, or find the likes of Maddison. Maddison wasn't really in the game until, I would say, the last maybe 8-9 minutes of the match. He wasn't, because we couldn't really get the ball to him, right? And that was a consequence of the setup that Man United had. So fair play to Ten Hag, and fair play to Man United, who showed that even though they fielded the same team that put out a distinctly horrible performance against Wolves, they were able to at least change the way they play to suit the opposition with the exact same lineup. And it stifled Spurs. I must admit, it stifled Spurs. It's not to say that we were horrible in the first half, right? I think we tried to play out a little bit towards the end, and we looked better, and we created that opportunity. We created 2 opportunities, actually. So we created the opportunity on the left-hand side where Son played in Pape Matar Sarr, and it was a good save from Onana. And then we worked out the ball well. I remember in the lead up to Pedro Porro's shot that crashed the crossbar, and then obviously the ball inside again from Sarr that hit the post, and Richarlison was there. Should have been ready for that rebound. But yeah, man, I can't really complain about going into halftime 0-0, because I'll be real, we were fortunate that it was 0-0. Man United on chances really should have been at least 1-0 up heading into the break, for sure. But I did feel like the end of the first half was a sign of things to come in the second half, in the sense where Maddison figured out that, listen, Man United have got like 5-6 players camped in our half. We couldn't really push our defensive line up because we weren't really able to play out well enough. So Maddison started dropping deeper, Basuma dropping deeper to receive the ball from the centre backs, and they were making shit happen. Pedro Porro, rather than tucking in centrally, he was pulling out wide and creating an angle for Romero to pass into to actually help us initiate our attacks. So I feel like the end of the first half was a sign of things to come in the second half, where we actually looked better. Maddison was evading the press, beating the likes of Casemiro, taking us further up the pitch, and so on and so forth. So yeah, man, it was an uncomfortable first half. I feel like, as I said, combination of good tactical planning from Man United, nervousness from us, right? I feel like a lot of the guys as well, Ange spoke on it, sorry. It was their first home game in front of our crowd. It was a full house, 60,000 plus. It was a full house. And can I just say as well, by the way, the atmosphere for that game was absolutely electric. Like, big up to every single Spurs fan in that stadium. I couldn't hear Man United fans the entire game. I could not hear Man United fans the entire game. The atmosphere was electric. Just being a part of that was brilliant, man. That's the best atmosphere I feel like we've had in a long time, in a very, very long time at home. So yeah, man, that was my view on the first half. I felt, oh God, first half, I felt like Kulusevski was really, really bad. Really, really bad. He got a lot of the ball, and had the opportunity to do something dangerous with it, and it just wasn't happening. Son looked okay-ish, but Aaron Wan-Bissaka was quite tight on Son. Richarlison just looked like a rab. Honestly, he just looked like a fish on sand, just flip-flopping everywhere, man. It was not good. It was not good at all. But yeah, man, I feel like first half, very uncomfortable for Spurs, and it's going to be something that I'll speak on later on in terms of areas that we need to improve upon. But I'm just going to quickly just go through the chats to see what everyone else's observation of the first half was. Okay, let me go through. You got battered first half. That should be the only concern. I don't think we got battered, but I think we definitely were second best. right? Okay. Let's see. Saw you at Southbury Station. Wanted to say hello, but you're on the phone. Oh yeah. I was on the phone. Uh, let's see. Sorry. I'm just trying to see what else. As a United fan, you deserve the 3 points, but you guys need attackers and some defenders to get closer to the top four. No lies told. No lies told. Um, let's see. Let's see. Ross says, appreciate the honesty on the first half. People grilling us dismissed that first half, same as the 7-0. However, just like the 7-0, we were shocking in the second half. Yeah, man. First half, you have to give it to Man United. They were better than Spurs. I felt like they matched us physically. Tactically, they were superior. They were better at creating chances. Rashford, good save from Vicario. Bruno, insane miss. Absolutely insane miss. I can't believe he missed that. Crazy miss. Like that one was bad. And then I'm trying to remember who else was there. What other chance they had in the first half. I can't remember the other chance they had in the first half. There were some really good blocks as well from Romero to stop some efforts as well that looked like they were going to go in. Yeah, Man United were better than Tottenham in the first half. Like I feel like you'd be hard pressed to deny that. They were definitely better than Spurs in the first half. Yeah, so 24Z says there were lots of spells of possession, but it wasn't all extremely fast. I can't lie. Yeah, man. I felt like in the first half as well, we moved the ball so slow, and it was so easy for Man United to just regain their shape, move from one side, move to another side, and just disrupt our rhythm. One second. Rob says, do you think we would be playing this way, style with Kane in the team? Richie seems to get stuck in no man's land. He doesn't hang on to the last defender or drop. Looks lost. I'm going to star this because I'm going to come back to this, right? I'm going to star this and come back to this. Adrian says, it's guaranteed our young players felt nervous and just needed time, and Man United gave us the time. Agreed. Fully agree. I feel like a better team, as good as Saturday was, a better team would punish Tottenham, right? A better team would have been 1-0 up, dare I say even 2-0 up before we even get an opportunity to get back into the game. And that was Man United's mistake. 1 second. Just going through some more. Zarspur says the atmosphere was top notch. Agreed. Fully agree. Z Gold says, even though you had a really good second half, we had the Anthony chance, the Casemiro chance here. Yeah, listen, I'm under no illusions. Man United created enough clear-cut chances to not lose this game, right? But the problem is they didn't take those chances, and the bulk of those chances came in the first half, right? The Casemiro chance, it was a really good save from Vicario, but again, it's a save I really expect any goalkeeper worth something to save, right? I think the big one for me, in fact, no, tell a lie. The Anthony one, I feel like he should do better there. He should do a lot better there. Okay, let's see. Sorry, just going through some more comments. The Rashford chance, I thought that was offside. Wasn't that offside, the Rashford chance? I know it was a big miss, but I'm pretty sure I saw the flag up from my seat. I'm pretty sure that was offside. Let's see. Okay. Sorry. Big up sorry, I'm gonna try and pronounce this. Apologies if I butchered it. Monsieur Wati. Sorry. It was a really strange game, even though we played 100 times better football than United. I don't think 2-0 was a fair result. 2-0 would reflect the chances better, in my opinion. I think it was a weird game. As I said, on chances, I actually think Man United created enough to not, at the very least, not lose that game. But the problem is with Man United, where they stifled us tactically in the first half, it was still a cagey game. Whereas in the second half, we completely took over. And I think that's what lost Man United the game. Yeah. Man United, if you look at this, if you look at the numbers, not just possession, but sprints, attempts, like recoveries, etc., it was all drastically down in the first half. The problem with Man United is you can't be that bad in one half and still expect to come out unscathed. You can't. As good as they were in the first half, you literally cannot be that bad in the second half. You can't be outplayed like that in the second half and then expect to crawl out of the game with something. You can't. So that's the point I was making, right? Especially in the first half as well, with the chances they missed. In the Premier League, we've seen that time and time again. We've seen that time and time again. This league is unforgiving. When you get chances, especially the number of chances Man United got, you have to stick those chances away because you don't know how the game is going to go. You don't. And Man United saw that up front, right? They gave Spurs an inch and we took a mile, literally. They gave us the opportunity to readjust the way we needed to play for the likes of Maddison and Basuma to drop deeper to receive, for Pedro Porro to pull out wide, for us to actually give Son options on the left-hand side in terms of the overlap and the underlap as well. So they gave Spurs time to figure it out, like someone said in the comments. And that was their biggest mistake. And on top of the fact that they gave Spurs time to figure it out, the performances from Man United in the first half in comparison to the second half was absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Every single player was getting bypassed with ease in the second half. With ease. Right? With ease. It's not to say that Vicario didn't have a very good game. He did. But I felt like Man United's the game state in the second half was literally one-way traffic for virtually the entire second half. It was bad for Man United, really, really bad. And they only looked better once the game was sealed, right? And Pellistri came on, Martial came on. Yeah, they looked better. They looked better, but by then the game was over. The game was over. So I want to talk on positives, man. In fact, sorry, I want to talk on the second half. Yeah, the second half for me, as I said, one-way traffic. Like if we can even look at the stats as well. We can even look at the stats because the stats tell the story, right? The stats tell the story. So with us, with first half, Man United had doubled the attempts to us. So they had 14 attempts. We had 7. Both teams had 3 shots on target. We had 0 big chances created, but we hit the woodwork twice. I don't get that though, because I'm not classing Pedro Porro's chance as a big chance. It's not. It would have been a fantastic goal if he scored that. But what about the chance right in front of goal, Pape Sarr? But hey ho, it says Man United had 3 big chances created, 3 big chances missed in the first half. Right? Cool. Second half for Spurs, we had 10 shots. They had 8, right? We had 3 big chances created, 2 big chances missed, 2 goals scored, might I add. Man United had 1 big chance created, 1 big chance missed. We had more passes, more possession, more shots inside the box as well, which is the key thing here, the key thing to note. We had, out of our 10 attempts in the second half, 8 were inside Man United's box, whereas Man United's 8 attempts in the second half, only 3 were inside the box. 5 were outside the box. 5 were outside the box. I feel like it was clear that we were the superior side in the second half. I felt like Basuma was firmly in the groove. I felt like, to be honest, Basuma and Pape Sarr were probably 2 of our better players in the first half. I felt like everyone else was just a bit, but Basuma and Sarr, they were good in the first half, and then they stepped it up in the second half, right? Maddison was firmly in the groove. Man United was just, all of a sudden, Man United were just giving us space. That space that we didn't have to build out in the first half was there in the second half. We made our adjustments, yes, but I felt like Man United just lost all discipline completely. Casemiro was getting ran through. Mason Mount was getting ran through, getting spun by Maddison. I remember Solomon came on, was spinning players. Even Højbjerg came on and spun a player. Destiny Odogi as well. There was one point in the second half, picked up the ball the halfway line. We ran past 3-4 players. That block that Man United had in the central areas on us in the first half was completely gone in the second half. Completely gone. And ultimately, that's where they lost control of the game. That's where they lost control of the game, honestly. It helped that we scored early on in the second half, but I felt like we set the tone early in the second half. We came out on smoke and we continued throughout the game, like getting closer and closer to your goal. Like I felt like at points we were just trying to walk the ball in. I remember Son had an effort, Destiny had an effort, Maddison had an effort blocked. Basuma had a shot that dragged just wide. Like we were knocking, right? So for me, we went ahead and we maintained our superiority and we made sure we got the second goal. And then we took our foot off the gas a little bit, as is normally the case of any team that goes 2-0 up with like 10 minutes to go, right? The onus is more on the opposition to throw what they have at us now, right? So yeah, second half, much better, man. Maddison went from not really being into the game to actually combining really well. I felt like him, Destiny, and Son had a really good like triangular like harmony going on that left-hand side. They were causing Man United all sorts of problems. As I said, Pape Matar Sarr physically dominating, technically clean, right? Taking the ball on a half turn, gliding past certain players. Basuma, I don't even need to speak on Basuma, man. Like this is 2 man of the match performances back to back now. Like this guy is a baller. He is just that guy. He's a baller. And this was the guy that we saw at Brighton. And this was the guy that was stifled last season. We pushed up a lot more in the second half because Man United let us, and 2, we made those tactical adjustments. But it was just good, man. It was really, really good to see us step it up in the second half. But it was also equally, as if you're a United fan, you would really be worried about that. That like, how are you just how is your performance just dropping off so crazy like that? Like still. I know it's game 2, match week 2, right? So there's no point in making any sweeping statements now because obviously the season is a very, very long season. But it's, as a United fan, you'd have to be worried that you're still seeing some of the signs that have plagued the team last year, despite adding 100 and something odd million into the side. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, it was just a really good second half. Very good second half. Sorry. Water break. Very good second half. I felt that even the subs that came on for us, they were just enjoying it, man. Because at that point we were firmly in control. The crowd was boisterous as well. Solomon came on, was twisting and turning Luke Shaw. Perisic came on, looked good on that left-hand side, constantly in space, gave us the 1v1 threat, and his very, very, very clever reverse pass found Ben Davies. I don't even know how Ben Davies completely miskicked that. It shows that he's a defender, but thank you to Lisandro the Butcher. Thank you for the goal and an assist. We'll take that. And happy days. Spurs keep a clean sheet. Spurs keep a clean sheet against Man United, and we beat them 2-0 as well. So, all in all, good day out, man. Very, very good day out, and a lot of issues that Man United need to work on. Let me go through some more comments and then I'll talk on the positives. So big up Ross. He says, facts. Mount was deeper and disciplined in the first half. For some reason, the second half, he was high up next to Bruno again and leaving Casemiro exposed. Mount is just not a central midfielder. He just isn't a central midfielder. It's that simple. It is that simple. He's just not a central midfielder. 24Z says, Odogi is cold. I told you, Tobs has all the attributes for his position, particularly at 20 years old. Listen, that kid he's going to the top, man. He's going to the top. Big up Alexis as well. Cavcast views. Big up, man. He says, keep up the excellent work, Tobes, but your club is still crap. Listen, man, you just let me enjoy, man. Don't be too mad at me, man, just because you guys are spending hundreds and hundreds of millions and you're still getting bought by West Ham, bro. But thank you for your comment, bro. Appreciate that. TKA says Sarr has a lot of potential. I think Ange will improve him well. Ross, again, he says, even as a United supporter, I'm so happy to see Basuma balling, man. Pogba vibes, silky touches. He's got his joy back. Facts. Just Joe, big up Joe, man. Championship settings, unfortunately, for Joe. But thank you for the comments. He says, Spurs mauled them second half. Agreed. 24Z, Basuma and Sarr were levels. Still. Big up Carl as well. Big up, bro. Hope you're doing well. He says, Spurs look impressive, and I feel you'll push on under Ange, and I don't see you missing Kane. Interesting. Big up Duncan as well. He says, Tobes, great to see your cameo on George Chilea's video outside the stadium. Thank you, bro. Adrian says, the thing is, if Man United scored early, it could have been a 5-3 or crazy scoreline either way. Games change in a heartbeat. Facts. In the Premier League, in these high stakes matches, unfortunately, those misses, it will come back to haunt you. We've seen that happen to Spurs. We've seen that happen to Spurs against Man United plenty times. Ian Smith says this was definitely Porro's best game defensively. I actually agree. I fully agree. Arshav says Davies in the box. Ange is undefeated. Yeah, man. Listen, fullbacks getting into the box, central midfielders getting into the box. Definitely positives. But as I said, there are positives and there are negatives, man. Gotta take the positives with the negatives. There's another super chat, but I'll leave that super chat to the end of the stream. I'll leave that to the end of the stream. Let's see. Big up Ross again. He says, correct. Mount is not a CM. What the F did Ten Hag? Why the F did Ten Hag get this guy? He solves nothing in our starting 11. Fully agree, bro. Fully agree. Okay. Let's actually talk about the positives then. Let's talk about the positives. So the positives for me, so I'm not sure if you guys have seen the thumbnail for this. I called it opportunity and I put Pape Matar Sarr's face at the front of the video, or the front of the thumbnail, sorry. Opportunity, that's one of my main positives since Ange Postecoglou has stepped foot through Hotspur Way. Opportunity to the young players in our team who have talent, right? Anyone who's been watching my content has known I've been asking for Pape Matar Sarr for months. Last season, when Bentancur was injured, I was saying play Basuma, play Sarr. The midfield duo of Højbjerg and Skip, it doesn't work. Stop playing a two-man midfield, especially that pairing. It doesn't work. You need to switch things up. You need to do this. But it fell on deaf ears. And listen, I'm no coach, right? So I ain't no expert, right? But it's just good to see talented young players given an opportunity. Pape Matar Sarr impressed in pre-season, and as a result of putting in impressive performances, he was rewarded with a start against Big Six side at home, our first home game of the season, and he starts. Right? Stellini in the dugout, he would have played Højbjerg. So would have Mason. So would have Antonio Conte. They would have started Højbjerg. Bear in mind, Højbjerg is leaving, right? They would have still started Højbjerg. But no, the manager said, nope, I want to start you. You've impressed me in preseason. You've got talent. I had loan offers for you. I rejected it. You're staying. I love that. Right? We've got 4 left-back options, right? 4 left-back options. Sessegnon, Davies, Reguilon, and Destiny, right? 3 out of those 4 have been playing at Spurs for 2 or more years, right? They've all proven over the course of their Spurs career that they are not good enough to start at left-back for Spurs. We signed a 19-year-old at the time last season in Destiny, who is now 20 years old. Any of those three managers I mentioned, they don't start Destiny. They don't start Destiny. They probably bring him on as a sub, or they just put him on the bench altogether. Nope, not this manager. He says, you impressed me in preseason. You are talented. The other guys, they've had their chance. This is your chance. And he's taking it. The guy is, mate, I don't want to get too carried away because it's only 2 games, but bro, it looks like Spurs have a serious player on their hands there. It really does. It really does. If this is the standard that he's going to set, then it looks like Spurs have a serious player. But most importantly, it looks like Spurs have a manager that is willing to work with, mold, and push these young talented players further. Simple. Right? I love it. Opportunity. Right? So those two were really impressive for me. Very impressive. Very happy for Sarr to get his first goal for the club. Basuma, again, an ever-present now midfield general. Like, the guy is just excellent. Evades pressure like nothing. Evades pressure like it's nothing, bro. Dribbling, you can't get the ball off him. Tracks back well. Like, brilliant, man. He's brilliant. What a player. Honestly, like, thank you, Ange, for bringing the joy back to Basuma's game, because a happy Basuma is a fantastic player. And as we can see now as well, like, some people have been saying recently that Basuma was just not the type of player for Antonio Conte. And I can see that, because he's a very expressive player. You can't limit what Basuma wants. You can't just put him in a box and say, you can only do this for 90 minutes, because he's an expressive player. He wants to roam. Do you get what I'm saying? Right? But so I can understand the whole clash between Basuma being ultra expressive versus Conte, who's quite regimented in his tactics. But Conte bought him. If you buy him, you play him, you get the best out of him. Otherwise, don't buy him. So again, I'm still putting that on the manager, man. Still putting that on the manager. Sorry, another water break. But yeah, man, Basuma, honestly, I'm running out of superlatives, and I just hope that the good performances continue. Maddison, listen, what can I say about Maddison that I haven't said already? He's a baller. He oozes class. Like, the way he was beating players in the second half, and just listen, the final ball wasn't there as much as we've come accustomed to from Maddison in the Prem, but second half performance, he was dominant, man. He was dominant. And it made up for his sort of very, very anonymous first half performance. Who else? Vicario. I thought Vicario was really good. If we're talking positives, a lot of people, I spoke on it last week, too many people had their pitchforks out, just like forcing this narrative that he's been this awful signing for Spurs, when the reality is we don't know. Like, as good as his performance was against Man United, I can't sit here and tell you, wow, this guy's a world beater and he's going to be this, he's going to be that for us. We have to take it game to game. But that game against Man United is a classic indication of why you don't speak so soon on a player you know nothing about. Me, myself, I've learned that lesson all too many times. Even Gift Orban, I didn't know who the hell he was. And I'm Nigerian. I didn't know who the hell he was. Making my jokes on Osimhen. But when I do my research on this guy, I'm like, raw, this kid actually looks really good. So that was a lesson to me. And I just want others to just be fair with Vicario. Like, if you want to speak with such confidence that a guy is not good enough, etc., at least have the evidence for it. Because there's no evidence right now to suggest that this guy is crap. There isn't. Like, I don't get it. Like, I wanted Raya. So, Rob, you've put this comment in, yeah? Yeah, but it kind of is against him. Like, I feel like you'd be hard-pressed to find any Spurs fan who would have said that they would have picked Vicario over David Raya. But where Vicario has been picked, right, it's been a data-driven approach. Like, it's not like Spurs have just plucked him out of nowhere, right? I would have taken Raya. But as we said, or as I said, and as many Spurs journalists have reported, when you look at the metrics, performances between Raya and Vicario, they're quite similar. It's not to say that I think they're the same level of play. I think Raya is a better goalkeeper, just off what I know so far. And Raya carries the Premier League experience and is older. But if we're going off a data-led approach, why would I call a guy crap who posts good metrics, right? Good metrics, and was highly rated in the league that he's just come from? Why would I call him crap just because he's not David Raya? For me, nah, man. I feel like people just need to be fair with him and just give him a chance, right? It goes both ways. It really goes both ways. That performance he put in on Saturday was very good. Very good game for Vicario, but it doesn't all of a sudden mean that he's this world beater, right? He's still got a long way to go. But my point is, let's just give the guy time. Let's give him time and make the best informed opinion of him, because the amount of games we've seen, it just isn't enough for us to say, wow, like this guy, like we're dead set. With goalkeepers, it's different. It's not like outfield players. It's not like Destiny versus Davies. Like, you can see that clear, night and day, clear. This guy's better, right? With goalkeepers, I think we need to give it more time. We've not really seen his ball playing yet, right? He still needs to build up communication with his back line, right? Like, there's still lots of things that he needs to work on. So we need to see how he evolves for Tottenham. But that was a really good performance for Vicario, so big up to him. I felt Pedro Porro, I know he lost the ball a couple of times, but I thought Pedro Porro was good on the whole. I felt in 1v1 situations he was strong. I felt on the ball he was progressive as much as he wants to be as well. There were good performances, man. Romero was good. Mickey van der Ven, I know first half a bit shaky at times with his passing, but on the whole assured, especially in the second half. I felt like once we grew into the game, the younger players grew in confidence as well. There's loads, man. There's loads of positives. I thought Son looked bright as well. I felt like having those players buzzing around him, I thought Son looked bright. And when he got into the box as well, Man United just really couldn't touch him. They just really couldn't touch him. So, yeah, those are my positives, man. Those are my positives. Of course, we need to talk about the negatives, but I'm just going to take a break from that, and I'm going to go through some comments. Let's see. Okay, J Spurs says, Vicario grew in confidence as the game went by. I agree. But to be fair, I felt like he was quite big for Spurs in the first half. Ryan says, in years in the past, we would have wasted the whole window trying to negotiate a deal for Raya. Credit for getting in an alternative early and having him the whole season. I think that's the other side to it. Yeah, definitely. Like, my ideal scenario is we just put down the money for Raya, not 40 million, but put down 25, 30 million for Raya and we get it done quick. But that wasn't going to happen. I feel like it's a sort of lose-lose situation there with Spurs, because if we, in times gone by where we've had a number one target and for whatever reason we've not been able to sign him, right? The alternative has either been really bad, it's been really, really bad for Spurs, or we've just not signed anyone, right? This time round, we sign an alternative who's meant to be fairly high, who's meant to be highly rated in Italy. We get him in for pre-season, and people still aren't satisfied. And I get it. People aren't satisfied because it's like, oh, Spurs missing out on their number one target anyway. But that wasn't the only issue with our transfer dealings. Tottenham wasn't just a case of, oh, just not getting your first choice target. It's the alternative has never been good enough up until recently anyway. So we just need to give the guy time, man. We need to give him time. Sorry, 1 second. Just going through some comments. Sorry, hay fever killing me. Ryan as well, he says, I thought same as me. I thought VDV started. We can't be calling Mickey VDV. Sorry, VDV is Van der Vaart. Mickey, let's call him Mickey or Vida Ven, right? Can't be calling him VDV. VDV is Rafa Van der Vaart, yeah? So thought Mickey started off a bit shaky, but I also thought he grew into the game. Agreed. Ian Smith. Kulu had a weird game. Felt he grew into it and the runs were good, but he just doesn't have that cutting edge he had in his first season. I'm going to talk on Kulu, man, because I thought he was awful, to be honest. I'll be real. Very, very poor game from Kulusevski. Just going through some more comments. Freddie SP says, sometimes we need to calm it down and control the game a bit more and not just high press, intense football all the time. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, let's talk on the negatives. So for me, as I said, I think before I get onto the players, I think the biggest negative for me, and I don't want to call it negatives. I want to call it like areas for improvement, room for improvement / negatives, right? So the biggest thing for me that I didn't like, as much as I enjoyed that win and Spurs, the biggest thing for me that I didn't like was how easy it was for Man United to just neutralize our build-up. Now, I expect that this is something that obviously the manager and the players will work on over time. It's only game 2. I don't expect the full bells and whistles. I don't expect a fully functional pressing machine that can bypass any sort of press, etc., etc. I don't expect that because we're still in the early stages of this way of playing, right? We are going to come up against better sides in the league that will punish us. Right, we're going to come against better sides in the league that can not only play through our press, but will also be able to do what Man United did in the first half, which is to stop our build-up. And I think when that happens, the manager, the coaching staff, and the players need to come up with alternative solutions, right? And I think they will do as the season progresses. But that was probably one of the biggest negatives for me. It was too easy, far too easy for Man United to neutralize our play, and it's definitely something that we need to tweak for the better, something to tweak in the games coming up over the course of the season, right? We were able to make those adjustments at halftime, right, or towards the end of the half, but sometimes you may not get that opportunity. Sometimes we need to try and make those adjustments as early as possible, right? Make those adjustments earlier and also familiarize ourselves more with this way of playing, right? And have different solutions. Do you get what I'm saying? Listen, I'm asking for a lot because, as I said, a lot of the players that have come into the team, they're young, or they're either young or they have minimal Premier League experience, or both. So it's going to take time. It's definitely going to take time. So I'm not trying to like rub the team out or anything. I'm not. I'm just highlighting an area of the game that wasn't particularly pleasing, and it's an area that we definitely need to improve on. But yeah, building blocks. Do you get what I'm saying? Rome wasn't built in a day. It's building blocks. So it's definitely something that we need to work on. Pedro Porro as well. I think if he's going to play this inverted role, whilst I feel like he did defend when the game was in front of him, he had Garnacho running against him. I think when he tucks into this inverted role, he just needs to be a bit more positionally aware of what's around him. I think that's the biggest thing that I don't like about Pedro Porro's game, which is that his ability to scan and be aware of danger is flawed. He doesn't do it well. So improvement points when you're playing inverted, when you're playing inverted and playing in that part of the pitch, midfielder, the spatial awareness needs to be on point because there's literally danger coming from all angles. So, but Pedro Porro had a good game, but that's one thing I would say he needs to work on. And I think Destiny as well needs to work on that too, as both our fullbacks are going to be inverted throughout the season. I think Romero, I think he had a really good game, but I feel like with him sometimes, in fact, a lot of the time, he takes too long to release the ball. In these type of games where we're trying to dislodge what looked at the time to be a disciplined shape, you need to move the ball quicker. Zip the ball. Get it, release it. Don't cling on to it and cling on to it and cling on to it. Release the ball quicker, right? So, yeah, man, there's a couple things for sure. And then I feel like from a player perspective as well, I thought Richarlison and Kulusevski were crap, man. Honestly, I really thought they were bad. I know Kulusevski. Finally, I had a bit of relief when he finally drove into the box after getting the ball for what was like the sixth time in the game on his side, driving into the box, and used his right foot to cut it back. It wasn't the best of crosses, but at the very least, he created a dangerous situation that culminated in a goal. And those are the type of moments that we want, man. Those are the type of moments we want, because it's like Kulusevski, I felt as outside of that, he just was bad. He was just bad. Sorry. And I love Kulusevski. I think this guy's a baller, man. But that second half performance, it stunk. It really did. I felt like he came into it in doses towards the end of it before his substitution, but I can't come in and speak positively about that performance, because for me, that's not a good version of Kulusevski. I just can't. It wasn't good for me, right? Got the ball a lot of the times in the first half and did nothing with it. Slowed the game down, if anything, or the delivery was poor, or the shots were too tame. With Kulusevski, I feel like he just needs to be his old aggressive self. When you get the ball, you want to try and go at your opponent, bro. Right? Go on the inside, go on the outside, put more power on your shots. Do you get what I'm saying? Put more power on your shots. Right? I think with Kulusevski, he'll click, man. Cream always rises to the top. He's a talented player. But right now, those performances, I need better. I'm sorry. I'm not accepting those performances, not as a starter, not when I've seen what he can actually do when he's playing well. Nah. He needs to be less shot shy. He needs to be more confident in his ability to beat players, because he can beat players, and he actually needs to use his strength properly. The guy's strong. He's a powerful player. He may not have that rapid burst of acceleration, but he's not slow either. Like, he can carry the ball and he's strong. So when people are barging him, he can stay on the ball, and he's got the skill to beat players. So he just needs to back himself more and play better, be better in his decision making. His decision making was so good when he first came to Tottenham, and I feel like nowadays his decisions are either too predictable or just too poor. Needs to be better. Get back to your best, bro. Trust me, I'm backing you. So yeah, I wasn't happy with Kulusevski's performance, but I feel like he was probably the second worst performer on the day for Spurs. And the number one worst performer on the day was Richarlison, man. Really, really bad performance. And it's one of them ones with Richarlison where, like, I'm losing a lot of faith in this guy. Like, I've not lost it all. I still believe that he can come good for Tottenham. I still expect him to score goals. He must. He absolutely must. But my belief in Richie, right, is nowhere near as strong as it was at the start of last season, right? Because I need this guy to give Spurs something. I get that in the second half, he held up the ball a little bit better and he actually managed to bring others into play. And I understand it. I understand sometimes you don't get chances. You don't get enough chances. Like, I don't feel like he got enough opportunities in the Man United game. He didn't, where he could actually work the goalkeeper. But you need to offer Spurs more. I've seen his comments recently after the game, and he still is determined to make a success of his Spurs career. And I still think he's quite humble in his opinion. He knows that he's not playing well. He knows that he needs to score. He knows that he needs to repay the faith that Tottenham have put in him. But with all due respect, they're just words, right? He's going to get the time to try and sort it out on the football pitch. He's got a manager who backs him. He's got players behind him who can create the opportunities that he needs to score. He just needs to be better in his own actions. Offensively, defensively, in front of goal, he needs to be better. He absolutely needs to be better. Nobody is expecting Harry Kane, right? But we are expecting you to give us a performance that can be respectable, because that wasn't a respectable performance. And I understand the service point, but I feel like he, in his own right, needs to offer us more. I think Rob, you put in a comment here about Richarlison, and I do think we would still be playing this way with Harry Kane. The problem is Harry Kane obviously just doesn't press as high up as Richie, doesn't really work as hard as Richie does off the ball, right? But with Richarlison, it's weird, man. He just looks out of place at the moment, and that's worrying. That's the worrying thing about Richarlison. He looks out of place, and I really hope that he can turn this around. And I expect that performances will be better. I really do. I expect that performances will be better. However, I'm not just going to ignore the game against United because we won, or the game against Brentford because we drew. He needs to be better. He absolutely needs to be better, right? This comment is interesting as well. Kwanzaa, I think you need to lower the expectations for Richarlison. No, I don't think we should. I don't. And I don't even think the expectations are high. Like, what is Richarlison actually being asked to do here? Stay on your feet more. Be more of a goal threat. Like, isn't that the bare minimum for any top flight striker in the Prem, let alone the striker of a supposed top 6 club? Like, what are these expectations, these high-end expectations for Richarlison? They're not that high. I've seen Patrick Bamford hit 17 league goals in this league. I saw Ollie Watkins hit around 16, 17. I've seen that, bro. I've seen that. I've seen Mitrovic score goals here. I've seen, who else? I'm trying to think. Who else? Wissa scoring goals. And I'm not saying that these guys are bad players, right? I'm saying that these guys are Premier League strikers. So I'm comparing him to other Premier League strikers, and he needs to up the levels, bro. He does. Right? If we're calling that second half against Man United a good performance from Richarlison, then boy oh boy, we are mudded. We are absolutely mudded. Because that's not good enough. And that's not in comparison to Harry Kane. That's in comparison to mid-level Premier League strikers. That's not good enough. Listen, Richie will have his chances, and I expect that the team will create more for him. When he spoke, he spoke about his improving relationship with Maddison on the football pitch. He said that they're working on it. Like he's starting to find a connection, and like he feels like it's coming. Like he just needs to remain calm and stuff. And I'm gonna listen to him against the advice of my fellow podcast members and stuff. I'm going to listen to him, and I'm still going to give him the opportunity. But bro, the patience is wearing thin. Patience is wearing thin. I know he has the capacity to be better for Spurs because I've seen him play better. Damn, even under Conte early on last season, he played better without scoring. So this notion that he can't do more for Spurs doesn't sit with me. Sorry. He has to do more for Tottenham. He has to, because listen, the admirers that the few admirers that he still has at this club, like myself, honestly, the patience is dwindling, bro. So yeah. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. I'm just going to go for some comments now. So big up Ben. He says, I have concerns, but I'd be more worried if he was missing chances. I think as we get better, he'll get more chances to score. If he's missing those, then it's time to go. My problem with Richarlison is like it feels like he just doesn't fit right now. Like he had a couple of moments, 2 moments against Brentford. I know that we didn't create loads for him. Obviously, strikers need more, but we had 2 moments against Brentford where I felt like he didn't really take the shots well enough. He could have taken the shots better. I felt like against Man United, in the rebound that came off the post, something that I traditionally associate with Richarlison, which is like sniffing out an opportunity to score, being in the right place, right time. Like, I don't know if I'm being harsh, but maybe you can be quicker. Stay on your feet. Maybe you can anticipate where the ball's going to land and you stick that ball into the back of the net. Right? I just feel like there are things that he can work on. Like he may not be the perfect player. I don't expect him to all of a sudden become this amazingly teched out link play god, right? But you can be more, not just the goals, but you can be more for Tottenham. Like I feel like he is a serviceable option. He is under this manager. I definitely can see Richarlison scoring goals, but I need to actually see it now, bro. I need to see it soon. So yeah, the ball's in Richarlison's court, man. Still got my backing for now, but got to do better. Got to do better. Okay, people were definitely into extra time. Definitely into extra time. I'm going to read one more super chat and then I'm going to go. But please, folks, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to the channel now. If you haven't liked this video, what are you waiting on? Please smash the like button. There's over 200 of you lot in this stream. Please smash the like button. Yeah, smash the like button. If you haven't smashed it already, let's get this stream to over 200 likes before the video ends. Yeah, I need to go soon, but I'm just going to quickly go through the super chat. So it was from, I don't even know how you pronounce this, Peb W. I don't know. Yeah. Do you think Spurs will sign anyone else before the deadline? We have to. We have to. I think we will. We absolutely have to. Obviously, we need to move some players on. My thinking is Spurs already have deals lined up. Like I feel like they know who they want to go for. They just need to actually reduce the size of the squad before they do so. And I feel like a lot of people conflate this with Spurs not having enough money for transfers. Now, I'm firmly in the Enoch out camp, right? I'm firmly of the opinion that this board very, very risk averse. However, I'm not actually mad that they're prioritizing moving players on because I feel like a lot of fans, well, I say a lot, to be fair, I think the majority of fans understand how much deadwood we have, but I feel like we can't just sign more players, right? We need to try and cut the size of this team. We've got 2 weeks left of the window, or just under 2 weeks left of the window. We still have Tanganga. We still have Sanchez. We still have Reguilon. We still have Højbjerg. We still have Hugo Lloris. We still have Eric Dyer. You get what I'm saying? We still have these guys. We still have Sessegnon on the books. We still have Jed Spence on the books. We still have Brian Hill on the books, right? I've listed, what, like 8, 9 players there? So we need to move guys on. Absolutely, we need to move guys on. So I can't really begrudge the club for having that stance. They have to move players on. I can begrudge the club for not getting these deals done, though. If we get to the end of the transfer window and I don't see another centre back in, and I don't see another striker in because we couldn't move player A or player B on, I am going to be angry because I feel like at some point maybe the club just need to just cut your losses, right? I feel like there are players that will obviously leave. I feel like Højbjerg, I think it's clear that he's going to go. There's been too much noise about him in Atleti. I think he's going to go. I think Reguilon is going to leave on loan with an obligation to buy. I think Tanganga, we've already seen the interest reported from Luton and Inter Milan. So I feel like he'll leave with a loan with an option to buy. Ndombele, I even forgot about him. I think obviously he's on big wages, so that one is quite difficult, but I can see Spurs finding a move for Ndombele on loan again before the window closes, which doesn't really fix the long-term situation, but in the short term, it will allow Spurs to free up some some space, squad space from a physical perspective and from a salary perspective to sign new players, right? Lloris's contract will be terminated for sure, right? I think that one is clear. Obviously, Spurs are looking for a fee. I don't know why. Just terminate his contract. He's got a year left. He's served this club well. Terminate his contract, let him go, and sign for any club he wants in a free transfer, right? There are other players that where there's been reported interest, like Sanchez. I feel like he'll leave. Yeah, man. So we'll see. We'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see. It's an issue moving on these players. I get it, because these players, one, are not that good, and two, don't really want to leave the cushy situation they have at Spurs. They could just stay at Spurs and just not play and collect nice wages and be part of the team and stuff. But we need to move players on. So yeah, it's important. It's very, very important. Very important. I'm just going to go through some more comments, then we'll end it. So Arteta's son says Richie's awful. He needs time, but not sure he has the time. Spurs going for another striker for sure. I think he has the time. Even if we go for another striker, he has the time. We have to go for another striker. Like, Richie could have scored 4 in 2, and I'd still be saying we need another attacker. Whether it's moving Son central to play and compete with Richie, or signing someone like a Gift Orban, whoever it is, we need another striker. You can't go the whole season with just one striker, especially a striker of Richarlison's mode, who doesn't offer that, who has a lot of detractors, and he's injury prone as well. He picks up a lot of injuries. Spurs absolutely need another option in the middle. So yeah. Zarspers says, I've seen Richie perform better at Everton, so he has to deliver. I'm getting tired of backing him. So Mohit says, what is happening with Velis? Is he meant to be third choice striker if we buy another one? Velis, the manager's already spoken about. He's obviously a player that the club are looking at for the future, but he's young, man. The manager said that he's young, still needs time, still needs refinement. So we shouldn't expect to see any sort of first team involvement for Velis, at least for the first 6-7 months. So yeah, I don't see him playing a strong part of this season. Obviously, we still got the young players like Dane Scarlett, Alfie Devine. What's happening with them? Are they going to get Championship loans, Premier League loans? Who knows? So a lot of decisions need to be made on our squad composition over the next week and a couple of days. So we'll see. We will see. Anyway, people, too much talking from me, so I'm going to end it now. I hope you've enjoyed this stream. Unlucky Man United. The Butcher got butchered. Casemiro got spun. Onana got packed away. It is what it is. We live to fight another day. Please make sure you smash the like button. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Please make sure you turn your post notifications on. And I will be back tomorrow with Fuad on my channel at 5 p.m. for the THFC show. So do not miss out. We'll be talking Anthony. We'll be talking Licha, aka the Butcher. We'll be talking all sorts. Yeah. Take care. Peace out. And up the Spurs.